Breaking news. U.S. sends submarines in times of crisis. In response to the escalating tensions in the Middle East, the United States has dispatched a guided missile submarine to the region. Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, also stated that an aircraft carrier that was already on its way to the region would arrive there in a more expedient manner. As a result of the recent death of prominent officials of both Hamas and Hezbollah, this measure is a response to worries of a wider regional confrontation. It sends a message that the United States is determined to assist in the defense of Israel against any attack that may be launched by Iran. Mr. Austin stated that the United States will take every possible step to defend its partner. On the 31st of July, Ismail Haniyeh, the main political leader of Hamas, was murdered in Tehran. Iran is being intently monitored for any sign of how and when it might respond to the killing. Israel has been accused of being responsible for the murder of Mr. Haniyeh, which took place on Iranian land, and the Iranians have pledged to punish Israel. Even while Israel has not issued a statement, it is widely assumed that they were the ones responsible for it. On Sunday, the Pentagon issued a statement in which it stated that Mr. Austin had dispatched the guided missile submarine USS Georgia to the region. Additionally, it had issued an order for the Carrier Strike Group of the United States Navy, the Abraham Lincoln, which is on its way there with F-35C fighter fighters, to speed up its journey. The vessel was already on its way to take the place of another United States ship that was stationed in the area. As it mulls over a retaliatory attack, Iran continues to keep the region guessing. Gaza truce negotiations, according to Hamas, must be based on the framework proposed by Biden. Uncertainty persists regarding the possible actions that Iran intends to take. On the other hand, Hezbollah, a political movement and militia in Lebanon that is supported by Iran, might launch yet another offensive against Israel. A senior leader named Fuad Shukr was killed by Israel in the southern suburbs of Beirut just a few hours before Mr. Haniyeh was killed. The group has threatened to respond to the execution of Mr. Shukr. It was meant as a deterrence against Iran and Hezbollah, according to Professor Mehran Kamrava of Georgetown University in Qatar, who stated that the United States of America officially sent a submarine. However, he made a suggestion that there might be some indication that Iran is actually up to something and is going to strike in a private communication. As a result of the potential threat, a number of passenger airlines have decided to cancel flights to airports nearby. Based on its current security analysis, German airline Lufthansa announced on Monday that it would be suspending flights to Tel Aviv in Israel, Beirut, the capital city of Lebanon, Amman, the capital of Jordan, Erbil, Iraq, and Tehran, the capital of Iran, until the 21st of August. The flights that were scheduled to proceed to Tel Aviv and Beirut around the same time period have also been cancelled by Swiss Air. The suspension of flights to Beirut that Air France had begun on July 29 has been prolonged until Wednesday, according to the AFP news agency. The suspension began on July 29. There have been earlier announcements made by other airlines, such as airBaltic and EasyJet, that they will be discontinuing their flights to the destination location. Following an attack on its consulate in Syria in April, Iran launched an attack on Israel employing hundreds of aerial drones and missiles. This attack was carried out in response to the incident. As a result of the administration of Vice President Joe Biden's belief that a truce in Gaza that would result in the release of Israeli hostages would be the most effective means of reducing tensions in the region, they have requested that negotiations resume on Thursday. The United States' efforts to resume the ceasefire talks were met with a response from Hamas on Sunday night. Hamas stated that Israel has to be compelled to implement the arrangement that is already upon the table. Instead of starting new rounds of negotiations, Hamas has stated that any resumption of ceasefire talks over the violence in Gaza should be based on the government's previous position. The statement, on the other hand, suggested that there was a general agreement to take part. Hamas has been held accountable by the United States government in the past for the failure of negotiations. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, is accused of appeasing far-right members of his coalition who are opposed to a compromise, according to sources in the Israeli press. The United States continues to view Netanyahu as partially responsible for the situation. Bezalel Smotrich, the Minister of Finance, was the coalition leader that the White House publicly criticized for the very first time last week. Mr. Smotrich had pushed Israel to oppose the United States' drive for ceasefire talks, making the argument that doing so would constitute a capitulation to Hamas. John Kirby, a spokesman for the White House's national security, stated that Mr. Smotrich was dead wrong and called him out for making false allegations. During this time, the heads of state of the United Kingdom, France, and Germany all reiterated their efforts to resume ceasefire talks. "We agree that there can be no further delay," stated the statement issued by the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Sir Keir Starmer, the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, and the Chancellor of Germany, Olaf Scholz. "We have been working with all parties to prevent escalation and will spare no effort to reduce tensions and find a path to stability."